What's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode. Today we are here doing a top 10 champion rankings for the science class. I did these a while back and they did pretty good views wise. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I enjoyed doing it and I'm here to do a little update on it. So yeah, let's get into this. Is this every champ? I hope it is. I don't think there's any science champions that aren't available as 5 or 6 stars. I don't think so. We'll just get right into it. Starting off at number 10, we're gonna go from bottom to top. Number 10, we have Red Hulk. In my opinion, Red Hulk takes number 10 mainly for some of his synergies. Let's see if it'll show up on here. The Domino synergies, the one with Domino, heavy attacks inflict and incinerate that deals damage equal to that heavy attacks damage over 2 seconds. That's the big one for Red Hulk that makes him such a used champion. But also he's pretty dang good. He's got some good abilities. Look at his abilities here. His special attack 1 gives him 2 of these. Excess heat from his attack causes 2 additional heat charges. So if we look here, does it show like what his heat charges does? I don't think it does. But his heat charges basically deal more damage, and they get a max up to 10. You can do some pretty solid damage with him, and he's pretty tanky. He's got some good health points. 6-star rank 3 here, and he's got a little bit of regen off his L2, and yeah, so he's pretty good. He's useful in a lot of content. And that synergy makes him very, very used. That's not the button I meant to push. Champion Science. Coming in at number 9, we have Hulk Ragnarok. Hulk Ragnarok is still one of the best options for passive damage. Magic's Limbo. I think it's Rage. Whatever the one, you get a Fury buff, but you also degenerate. Whenever that kind of damage is being dealt, he will be healing. So you'll still be taking damage, but he'll heal most of that back. So he's a very sustainable champion. He also, some of his synergies are pretty fun with a lot of champions. But he's another tanky champ, and he does some solid damage. He got some unstoppable. He's good for defense. When he's awakened and he or the other champion goes to 20% or below, the crowd, the quote-unquote crowd, will decide if he gets a Fury buff or a Regen buff, and depending on the signature ability level, that scales. So I personally like his signature ability a fair amount. It's not bad. But yeah, Hulk Ragnarok takes number 9. Let's go back to the science class. Coming in at number 8, we have Luke Cage. Luke Cage is one of the ones that back in the olden days, when in 2015, when he was released, he was garbage, absolute garbage. But they gave him a buff, and he does solid damage. Another tanky champ. A lot of the science champions are pretty dang tanky. But basically with him, what you want to do is just be super aggressive, build up those exhaustions, and the more exhaustions you have, the more damage you'll do. With a certain amount of exhaustions, let me look at your abilities. If we go to his special attack 1, 57% chance to stun the opponent for 2.5 seconds. The chance to stun is increased by 10% for each stack of exhaustion the target has up to 30%. So you can get up to 87% stun chance off his L1. So you can fairly consistently stun. Also, his special attack 2, consume all exhaustion debuffs to inflict concussion. So you get a concussion. Special attack 3, though, inflicts 4 exhaustion debuffs, each reducing critical damage rating by 90.6. Yeah, for 18 seconds. The opponent's power gain effects are also reduced by 25% for each exhaustion debuff on them. So your attack's going to go up fairly high. So he's tanky, and also his signature ability, Bulletproof Skin, allows Luke Cage to become indestructible and ignore all incoming damage for 1.7 to 3.7 seconds. This ability can be activated again, and there's also a timer for the reset. So he's a very sustainable champion. He can, if you mess up, he can save you with that indestructible, and he can do some solid damage. And he's bleed immune. It's also got another synergy that he has with the champion, one that I like, plus 35% chance to inflict debuffs as long as Luke Cage never dashes back in a fight. So you can be, if you can be very aggressive and not dash back, you'll have plus 35% chance to place exhaustions, and you'll be dealing a ton of damage. Moving on to number 7, we have She-Hulk. Where is She-Hulk? She-Hulk. She-Hulk is another one that was terrible when she was released, but got a buff, and now she is pretty good. Basically with her, she's not as tanky, but she can deal some damage. If you're not fighting a skill champion, let's see here. Maybe under here. When attacked and when attacking, 11% chance to gain a passive fury effect, increasing attack by that much for 8 seconds. Now, when you launch special attack 1, you'll 100% chance to gain a passive fury, so you can stack those up. But also when the opponent activates special attack, if the opponent doesn't have a class advantage, so if it's not a skill, She-Hulk refreshes the duration of all of her personal passive fury effects. So you can refresh those depending on. So what I mean by that is when the opponent throws a special, you will refresh all your furies. So you can keep up. I've seen people get up to like 30 furies, and you're just dealing a ton of damage. And she's pretty insane. Also with her heavy attack, if the opponent is unstoppable, this attack cannot be interrupted. If the attack lands, the unstoppable effect is removed, and She-Hulk gains a passive fury, increasing attack by and it also causes a slow debuff on the opponent for 12 seconds. So you can pretty consistently keep the opponent with that slow debuff, and they'll never evade and never go unstoppable. So she's got some pretty sweet abilities here. Her signature ability depends on who you're fighting, but it's not too big. It doesn't really do much. So that is She-Hulk. Coming in at number 6, in my opinion, we have Thing. Thing is one that by himself, he's a pretty solid champ. He can do a lot of stuff. He has abilities, rock stacks. You can stack up your rock stacks by parrying. If you get hit while you're above 15, you get unstoppable. Also, when you throw a special attack, it'll consume those rock stacks and give you furies for the amount you did. On his special attack 3, you'll become unstoppable and unblockable for 8 seconds, so that's pretty sweet, and you'll get an extra fury. But the main thing that really bumps him up and does solid damage is this synergy with the champion. Once per fight, when Thing would be struck by a blow that would knock him out, his health point remains at 1. He becomes indestructible for 6 seconds. Any hit he receives while indestructible gains him a fury of 100% for the rest of the fight. If you get 7 of those furies, so 7 hits during that 6 seconds period, you'll be doing 700% more damage. It's insane what kind of damage you can do. And then if you pair that up with some like healing synergies with like Heimdall and I think it's either Angela or Thor Ragnarok. You dash back, you hold block, you can heal up 20%, and you can be a little bit more sustainable at that point. But he is insane when you get that, and he's very good for defense as well. So Thing, solid option. He's also bleed immune, so there's that coming in for him. Now I'm going to go back to champions here. Coming in at number 5, we have Red Guardian, a newly released champ. I personally don't have him, but I feel like from what I've seen, he's pretty insane. So basically, if I remember correctly, you can put on, let me see here, there's a certain buff, Fracture, inflict, or a trauma debuff for 3 seconds. Trauma causes each hit to deal an additional 70% of damage recently dealt as a burst physical damage. So you 70% more damage whenever that's done, so that's pretty nice. But his heavy attack, gain that much attack rating for each unique debuff on the opponent. Refresh all slow, vulnerability, and trauma. So basically, you stack up with the L1, you get like slow, I think is the L2 where you get the vulnerability. Somehow you get the vulnerability, I don't remember exactly, but basically you stack up those debuffs and you'll be dealing a ton more damage on your heavy attack, plus this, and you can slow the opponent fairly consistently. And so he's fairly good by himself, but some of his synergies here are amazing. So one with Rhino, and it's not too big. Abomination, all stacks have a 50% chance to inflict poison. All attacks to inflict poison, dealing 70% of modified attack over 10 seconds. So you'll be dealing a lot more poison damage with Abomination, and I think somehow you can also get like a power sting with that too. Also with Unstoppable Colossus, personal fury buffs gain an additional flat plus 10% chance to trigger and last 200% longer. Additionally, landing a heavy attack pauses all personal fury buffs until another is gained. So you can pretty much stack up a ton of fury buffs and do a ton of damage with Unstoppable Colossus. So he makes some bad champs usable. So along with his insane damage and his block efficiency is pretty good, he can do some sweet stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he comes in at number 5 for me. Next on the science class, we have Human Torch. Human Torch is one, when he came out, people were like, what on earth? He's not that good. But, dude, he is insane against Mystic Champions especially. You parry, you get the Smolders. So if we look into his abilities, let's see, does it attack, when blocking or attack? If the hit dealt energy damage, temperature is increased by 5 in Human Torch Smolders. So his Smolders, that's what I'm looking for. His Smolders. Whatever. His Smolders basically make it so that his Incinerates do more damage. So you can deal a ton of Incinerates, and the Incinerates can block out healing as well. So at that point, if you look at up some like Human Torch Abyss solos, goes up against like Mephisto, and he shuts him down and defeats him in like no time at all. Like, you just have to take him word for it. He's insane. I don't really know how to explain it because I don't have him and haven't played him much, but he is absolutely insane. Just look up Human Torch. Like, Legacy has some good videos on him, but he comes in number 4 for me. Number 3 in the science class. Top 3 here. But before we get into top 3, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Got a lot more Marvel Contest Champions content coming up. And I also have some NFL content, so make sure to subscribe for that. And comment down below, who's your top 5 or top 3 or top 10, whatever, science champions. Let's get into this. Void, number 3. Void is one that has a soft spot in my account. Like, I have maxed out, got him up to max sig. He was my first max sig 4-star. He helped me through so much content. Void, his main thing here, if we go to his abilities, we go to his passive. Every 10 seconds, Void's Intimidating Presence inflicts 1 random debuff, plus 4 seconds on the timer if at least 1 Intimidating Presence debuff is already active. So those debuffs are an Agility debuff, reduces ability accuracy of evade and the Dexterity Mastery by 30%. Fatigue debuff, reduces critical rating. Petrify debuff, this is a big one, reduces opponent's regeneration and power gain rate by a flat 50%. Okay, when all those are at max stacks, those debuffs will be removed after 5 seconds, but if you have a signature ability, when all Intimidating Presence debuffs are at max stacks, instead of being removed, those debuffs are converted into a passive Fear of the Void that combines their effects and grants Void that much attack rating for 40 seconds. When Fear of the Void is active, Intimidating Presence generates debuffs that much faster. So basically, if we have him, I'll go to my 4-star, rank 5, Sig 99. You'll be gaining stuff that much faster, but the thing is, with that Fear of the Void, you can redo those petrifies and you can get 100% draining. So that regen, like if you go up against the Wolverine in Realm of Legends, get that Fear of the Void, then 2 stacked petrify, and it's completely reversed, and it's insane. You also get that damage increase, and that helped me. I actually, when I was clearing Realm of Legends, I actually used Void to almost solo Black Bolt. Back then I didn't have a lot of skill, so I wasn't able to solo him. I could have soloed him now, but back then he's insane. He's absolutely insane. Let's go back to champions. Number 2 on the science list, we have Beardo. There he is. Or Captain American Infinity War, whatever you want to call him. But Beardo, one thing to look at, block proficiency is extremely high. 84 percentile. I don't know what all that means, but block efficiency is insane. And the reason why that's important is whenever you get this, you can get 5 kinetic potential charges. I'm just going to explain it. That's kind of hard to read. It's complicated, but basically you parry, right? You parry, you get a kinetically charged buff. Then you can get up to 5 of those. Then you can do a heavy attack, gain a fury, get your L2, and your special attack 2. 100% chance to stun for 1 second. Each kinetic potential charge grants that much more attack and plus 0.5 second stun duration. So for each kinetic potential, you get more attack and you get more to your stun. But then you also have this insane fury effect. So you can be critting with I did it with on my second account with my rank 4 or rank 5 4-star for like 32k with that. It's insane. And then you also, if you go to your special attack 3, if kinetically charged, gain that much attack for each different class on Cap's team, not including himself, up to 2 classes. Gain 1 non-consumable kinetic potential charge with lasts 30 seconds. So basically, the more variety you have on your team, classes wise, the more attack you'll do. And also with that heavy attack, you're going to do more damage. And so basically, if you're fighting a skill champion, your L2 is not going to crit, so you want to do your L3, and you're going to do a ton of damage. He's insane. And with his synergies here, with the, which one is it? This one, Cosmic Champions increase their buff duration by plus 25%. That's pretty sweet. The Mutant one gains a plus 20% prowess. Not too bad, but not very useful. Mystic Champions deal 30% of their attack as direct damage to their opponent when nullifying one of their buffs. That's pretty sweet. Science Champions place a passive weakness on the opponent, reducing their attack for 50% except while being struck by them. Skill training. Tech breakthrough. Tech Champions drain 100% of the opponent's max power after the opponent uses special attack. That's pretty good. But when you have all of those different people on your team, I think is it in here? Oh, signature ability, that's what I'm looking for. So for each different thing you have, each different class on your team, you get a certain basically bonus. So if you have a science champ and you do a well-timed block, you get a weakness debuff. If you have a cosmic champ, you get an armor break. If you have a tech, you have a petrify. So you can do basically the same thing Void does, but you have to get 8 stacks instead of a Fear of the Void and 2 petrifies. So you have to do like 8 parries. If it's max sig, you get a 100% chance to place this. But basically, you can get armor break, weaknesses, and petrifies just by parrying, and you also get those kinetically charged. And you do a ton of damage and keep those petrifies up, cancel out regen, power gain. It's insane. But coming in at number 1 for the science class, we have Quake. Oh, Quake is one champion that I wish I had because she is not like any other champion. You can go through a whole like Act 5, Act 6 fight without hitting the opponent and win. Yeah, without hitting the opponent. 0 hits, you can beat somebody. How is this possible? Look at her abilities. When charging a heavy attack, Quake generates powerful waves of vibration that cause an earthquake, dealing that much physical damage per second. Inflicts concussion, reducing the opponent's ability accuracy by 100%. That concussion, if the opponent has a concussion on them and they try to attack you, you evade that attack. While Quake is generating an earthquake through this attack, the aftershock scales up to 1 every 0.48 seconds. So every 0.48 seconds, you'll place an aftershock. You can stack these up, and when those aftershocks expire, an aftershock hits 10 seconds after an earthquake. For every point in the scale, aftershock deals that much physical damage. You can also get a stun, and you can just do so much damage without even hitting the opponent. It's insane. Look up Dork Lessons. Dork Lessons is, in my opinion, one of the best at playing Quake. And you can literally just evade parry, or evade dexterity and not even get hit. And you don't even have to hit. And it's insane. She can get around almost any node. She is definitely top 3 champions in the entire game. But that is my top 10 champions in the science class. Comment down below what your top 10 is, or your top 3, or top 5, whatever you want to do. But yeah, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next episode. Bye-bye.